with 10 minutes to go, a bit less. And, well, I think everything is hopefully going to be running smoothly today. Not expecting too many issues. Yeah, seems good. I think I should start off by just going through some of the top players so far in the top 10. Try and figure out who some of them are. It'll be interesting. I'm not sure who Schwarztier is. I think a player that competed last time. Kenny Willenberg. And then yet again the Freddy F5 player who fell out a bit last week. And I think we're going to be starting with the game by Boomer Remover, who is James Dinham. And here's Kenny Willenberg in the chat as well. We are live indeed with, well, not too much time left. Maybe Kenny can help me and say who Schwarztier is, because I am not too sure. And, okay, we'll be looking at one of Kenny's games as well. Probably the first game will be Kenny's game against this Schwarztier person. As usual, 1 gets paired against 2, 3 and 4 for these first pairings on, well, you have to look at the teams as well. So as long as the teams are differentiated, it should be fine. So as far as the top 10 is concerned, that should be the thing. And I quite like the time format of this tournament. I think we could expect, I keep on saying Daniel Caudry is going to play, and he did play last time. I also missed that. Because of the time format, it's not 5 plus 3, we're back to the crazy 3 plus 0, and this is a nice format to berserk in. 1.5 minutes against 3 is actually quite doable, especially because if you manage your 1.5 minutes, you can still flag the other guy and not just get run down into an end game and then having to play that without any time. So that's one of the perks about this this format, in my opinion. So, okay. Still no idea who Schwarztier is. Kenny, Freddy F5, who apparently is not a Dutch player. I kept on saying he's going to play the Dutch, and he didn't because of the username. And Western Cape actually looking pretty solid today with, well, that's 5 players in the top 10. The big competition is Gauteng North. And this time they only have Boomer Remover looking to play for them. I know 5 minutes to go, a lot of players are still probably going to join. But Boomer Remover, James Dinham, we'll start off with one of his games, as I said. And then probably go look at one of Kenny's games. And, well, Boomer Remover, James Dinham, also one of Daniel Caudry's students. Well, the only reason I could figure that out is because Daniel Caudry made a study for Mr. Boomer Remover. Thank you, person, for spamming the chat. I'm actually just going to report you. Knight Odysseus, this is... it's annoying. Please don't spam the chat. In any case, people are here for chess and not to fight over which platform is the best to stream on. We just want to enjoy some chess. And as you'll see, I actually put down some of the visual quality a bit from my previous streams, as I'm not sure about the internet connection anymore. Last 2 weeks it has been a bit faulty, and this time I started playing around with the settings just to see if I can get it a bit smoother. So my bitrate isn't as high as I would like it to be, but I guess it's still good for chess. And in the end, chess is happening in your head. What's up, Maila Mlizo? Are you going to be playing or spectating today? And, well, if someone can, I can't actually share the link to the video anymore, as I'm my my browser's a bit full and I don't actually have the actual stream here. But if someone can share it on the tournaments chat, that would be very helpful, please. I would appreciate that. And okay, I was busy mentioning which team should be the favorite today, and I still not too sure. Western Cape, they rethought some of their tactics. Last time, I think you can go look at the last stream, that in the last 2 minutes they only gained 2 points, I think. Gauteng North managing about 17 points. So this time around, they won't simply be playing in the last moments they're going to be offering draws. They'll not just play for the win for the game itself, but try and get points for the tournament. So I'm guessing this is the tactic. Omar, you like share the link of the video you're watching in the tournament description. I think I did that last time. Okay, and Enachi is with us today. Who is Matt Pond? Actually, I think I could share it. No, I can't. Wait. There's a way to do this. I think if I go like this, and this should actually be the live stream. Okay. Matt Pond is in the house, so the competition is going to be real. And actually, I was saying with this time control, we could really expect Daniel Caudry to be playing. He looks like someone that likes playing with 1.5 minutes against 3. And also Kenny Willenberg is going to be doing the same. A big bullet fanatic. Oh, what's happening with this bullet rating, Kenny? This is a bit unusual. I must say I haven't been playing bullet myself. I used to be a pretty big fan. Quite addicted to it last year. But my chess has improved because of that, but also improved since I've stopped playing bullet. So either way, it helps. And okay, I usually just read the quotes as well. Not sure who Sir John Simon is. We can quickly check. Sir John Simon is a British politician. Prominent during the First and Second World Wars. So obviously this guy is a bit of a tactical person. And saying chess is a cold bath for the mind. Way to refresh himself tactically, maybe. And I usually like Lee Chess's quotes. I'm not sure where they get all of them from. Probably just from some other site. But I must say, like, my favorite is still the Mark Tymanoff quotes. They tend to put in here. Okay. Minute 20 to go. We had a Nachi joining in the last minute. Oh, wasn't I? Last time Schwarzstier was also dominating quite a bit. But then Roberto de Abrio isn't Schwarzstier. These two guys were getting a buttload of points for their region. And, well, don't underestimate Boomer Remover. We're going to, I think, get the TV up on his site as the tournament starts. 50 seconds to go. I'll jump in there just now, but he requested we watch one of his games. So, and then we're probably going to get a lot of Nachi games again. Schwarzstier, still no idea. But probably a strong player from the Joburg Metro District. Could be a Kanya Mazibuko account. I'm not sure. Starting in 20 seconds. Oh, here you go. Here's the link to the stream. I'm such a noob. Okay. No, this is what I wanted to do. I just wanted to share the link. And 6 seconds to go. Let's jump into Boomer Remover's TV. He's going to get paired now any second. And here we go. X Zawishenzook. Love the name. And he's berserking Boomer Remover. So we're going to get some action. Maybe he feels that the game is going to be wasted. Start of the tournament, nothing to lose. You don't have any fire yet. Hello again to Jonathan Livingston. Your son's account is rookie1243. I've memorized it by now. We'll get one of his games as well. And yep, good luck to Gauteng North again. This time the competition is going to be real. No tactics in the tournament itself with making draws in the end. I quite like the Sicilian we got quickly. We can see this is a student of Daniel Caudry playing the Sicilian. And SouthAfricanOstrich actually keeping his time under control. Going for this dark squared bishop. Puma remover getting onto this open file now for the rook. One of the main ideas is actually a very big tactical motif in the Sicilian is to sack this rook for the knight and then to play for the center. Well, either way. So he goes to the center immediately. Oh, Craig Willenberg. Okay, thanks. We're getting the whole Willenberg family over here. Luckily, we're starting with actually a big matchup then. A Western Cape chess star versus a Gauteng North chess star. The two, well, regions that were battling it out for first place last time. And we can see how both of the, well, two of their top players are approaching the start of the tournament. One deciding to just completely go for it, goes berserk, knows there's nothing to lose. This is the time to make up an extra point for his region. And the other one just playing safe, knowing that fire will come eventually. An interesting move. I'm not sure if this is necessary. Trying to play on the other side of the board, but actually, well, okay, I missed this idea to weaken the pawn as the knight's defending it. But it's not clear immediately how it's going to be weak. The queen ends up here. It comes with tempo. You need to defend the pawn. He does it by doubling the rooks. Also now the knight's freed up. There's no good discovery actually against the queen, because the queen just takes the rook. But I was thinking maybe there's a deeper idea. Maybe black can consider giving up the rook, playing check there and then shifting the rook here. In any case, boomer remover, not going for that. Just playing safe for now. Not too sure what a6 is about. Plays in the center now, opens up play here. But after bishop takes, there's this intermezzo of queen here, which is going to be very uncomfortable. So white's not going to trade the rooks. Just defends the pawn. And okay, I'm liking this action. SouthAfricanOstrich. I'm not going to pronounce it with every little consonant over there. That's just going to make me mad. Actually managing his time very decently. And playing dynamic chess. Not sure how the pieces are entering. I don't think when the rook was... Yeah, you needed to defend the rook. Rook's being hit again. Throw it to the corner, maybe b8. Not sure how you maybe king c7. f7. Okay, he gives up the exchange. I think king f7 was totally fine. I'm not sure what the reasons were. Maybe rook coming down was the issue in any case. But now things should be traded. Wonder if this... No, that was never a move. Everything's defended. And now I'm liking black. Two central pawns. Hallo? Lekker jy? Ek stream nou. Ja? So 2 ure. Okay, kom aan. Cheers. Sorry, I don't have caller ID, so I just answer whoever phones. It's actually a blessing and a curse. I've answered many calls that I probably wouldn't have taken if I knew who it was. And always need to answer the phone. Okay, so Boomer Remover is going to be taking this game. Two things that were that I just didn't comment on, but that are, oh wait, be careful. This is a check, and that's mate. You need to check the king. I don't think there are any mating ideas now. You can probably just take the pawn and just try and get out of this. Yep, he does so. Okay, sneaky little move there by SouthAfricanOstrich, but now he's just lost. The reason why he was lost so quickly after going into that endgame is firstly his issue of time. He was a bit low on the clock, but as well it was quite a clear way for black to play with these two pawns that were centralized. and one of them which was passed. So okay, let's jump into a new game. The Sunnyside Bull. I know who this is. I'm just forgetting the guy's name. Okay, let's wait. I was saying I want to watch Kenny's game. Is he just in the start of a game? Okay, we're catching him in a good time, playing against the weaker opponent, not berserking him, going for a Roy Lopez. And okay, this is the position we've reached. This looks actually a lot like, you should go watch the game. I think Carlson Nakamura now, they played a very similar position. It's actually a very deep theoretical line. One of their most recent games, Hans, you guys keep on forgetting Hans Stein. The guy loves blitz. Also a chess coach as far as I know. This is an annoying move, and then you get rid of the bishop. Yep. Okay. And okay, Jonathan, I will be coming to Rookie's game after this. And I'll just simply trade here and take the pawn after everything. Yep, I think you can take the pawn. African Chess Club in Sunnyside, yeah. Take the pawn. There's this annoying d4 move with the pin. He's going to do it. 99% sure he's going to do it. Yep, he does it. That's great. Queen can't obviously take. That just loses on the spot. But now d4 is a crushing move. The main reason is that you're keeping the king occupied in the center of, the center of the position. And Sunnyside Bull did last time he did really well as well. I think we should try and get one of his games as well. I think it was his last classical tournament. I think it was even in February this year. I saw him. It was in a Gauteng North tournament, and he did well. But then in the last round, he lost against my friend Mark Hansen. And now this is coming, and this is all she wrote. Even if rook here after d5, I think bishop d3, tempo against the queen, and the pin will remain. You can simply even move your queen to h5 if queen d6. Okay, now this is just another piece. And Kenny, really, I'm not sure why he's not berserking the player. Even e7 is a way to quickly simplify. Okay, he just holds onto the pawn. e7, you can take back with check, give up this pawn, just to simplify. Queen f3 seems decent. He's probably looking for something more active. Yep. This fork is nearby as well. If black does something with the queen or the pawn now, which I'm actually expecting him to do, I don't think one of the rooks are going to move again. Okay. Now what to do? The game is already kind of lost. I don't know if we should hang around here for too much anymore. Kenny is a decent player. He's going to be converting this very, very easily. So while we still can, let's go jump into Rookie's game. And it doesn't look like he's playing. No, he's not playing. Okay. So, unless he's playing on a different username, you can just tell me. I also wanted to look at, Sunnyside Bull's game. And he should... Okay, it looks like the search function isn't working or something. Which is pretty annoying. And Irionis. Okay, I'm gonna just quickly break my rules. No wait, he's also towards the end of a game, but this seems interesting. One of my other friends playing for Joburg Metro. Not too sure why. It is his region actually, but he's a student here in Potchefstroom, and I think he's winning this game. The spin is annoying. I'd like to do something with this knight. Ideally, get it over here. The attack, I'm not buying that there's a real attack. So he makes a new square for the knight, maybe. Wants the knight here, but then where does the knight go after that? I'm not too sure. Really need to do something here. You can use the opportunity to get to this side of the board, and maybe even run like this. It's a few moves you're going to be spending, but while you're doing this, I'm not sure how white starts improving his position. From d5, okay, Now you can take the pawn. I don't think there are any tactics here. Take the pawn. Yeah, I just take the pawn. If the rook goes back, simply take the knight. So now you can take the knight. Oh no, don't be careful. That's the idea. Mate. Okay, don't want to get mated. Retreat. Stop the mating threat. Open up your own rook's eyes. And now how to prove that this was not a good choice for black. Simplify maybe. This forces some material off of the board. I think you need to play queen takes. And go for the endgame. Unless there's rook takes, you've got queen check, king here, queen can fall back. Oh, sorry, with another check. There might be something. Okay, this is an easy way to play the position. Secure way. You can... Wait, where's the knight going? It's not even hunting down your pawns properly. Push the pawn up. And let's see Irion's technique. He's not too great with low time control. So this is still it's still any man's game actually. Well, is black's knight trapped? Not yet. But I think after rook d4 it is, yep. He's picking up the knight as well. No squares for the knight. All of them are covered. Black knows it. Tries another idea. Okay, he can play forwards as well. And Irion's getting this game. Get another trade, take with the pawn. Push this pawn. Push the pawn. He sets up a sneaky check to pick up the rook with discovery. And he should be winning now. Push the pawn all the way here. Take with the knight or rook. Okay, this is a nice win. But 8 seconds. He needs to deliver checkmate. Okay, he's going to flag the guy. Sometimes, though, they're really quick. So, oh, queen sack. And that wins on time. Well done, Irion. Sunny side bull. Here we are. And he's already kind of deep into a game. So I think we're going to watch this game and then watch the next game of his. And Jonathan Livingston, you can just tell me if your son is playing again. Or which username. I couldn't find him just now. Sunnyside Bull is setting himself up for some trouble over here. I wouldn't even have given this check because it... Well, okay. Where's the king going? Bishop e3 is maybe defense. Going rook there immediately seemed fine as well. He's playing down the exchange. And he's allowing black to simplify even more over here. Bishop e1 could have held onto material. So I'm thinking he berserked in a game he maybe should not have berserked in. Not sure who Nightmare is. And this is a nice move actually. Keeping the king active. You can't go rook h3, that drops this rook. And that is the idea. Is he trying to be sneaky? There's potential for his own back rank after he gets knight to f7. But it feels like he's lost. King's going to need to defend like that. And this check is going to kick the king away from the bishop. But trust me, he's still going to try for this back rank idea, using the king as the piece to defend. There's not a good knight check. Drops material. So how's Nightmare going to deal with this? Maybe f6 and kick the king away like this. But you're pretty fine. Okay, he goes f5. You're pretty fine even just pushing b4. You can recapture this pawn. Actually, you need to be careful. There might be a perpetual check. Sunnyside Bull keeping things alive here with barely no material. Okay. Okay, you can't trade pieces. Sunnyside Bull needs to hold on to material, but walks into this check now. And actually, he's a very tricky player. Look at this position. He's down a rook, but keeping the king active. Watch out. There's mate in one. Oops. Okay. So the king was active, but the king got mated. So maybe not the best active king, but it did make the situation more tricky than I expected it to be. And well, sorry, I don't know why I'm not sticking to what I say I will do. I'm saying we jump into a new game of his. Just watch a game from the start. And we're lucky to be getting Craig Willenberg again. This time he's on the opposite side of berserking. He's the one choosing not to berserk. And the Sunnyside Bull has gone berserk in a Sicilian, where it feels like it's still going to take him a while to castle kingside. And I'm liking white quite a bit here. Okay, he might even go queenside. I'm thinking he's going to be crazy. defends this pawn as well. But I'm not sure if white even wants to defend this pawn. I think he's going to try and play more active, really. Okay. It feels like the white king, if you can play along this diagonal. Okay, it's starting to feel a bit weak. The fact that, sorry, I was saying white king, the black king still is uncastled. If he's going to castle, this c file is always going to be open. So I'm thinking Craig is considering a way of not defending this pawn and playing something more active, just simply knight forwards or something else, knight d2 even, followed by rook b1. It's definitely something I think he's considering. Yep. And it's nice to... Okay. And Hans wants nothing of this. He just decides to get castled, but I think he's lost now. This is just too active. You don't even need the queens, I think, to attack. Maybe you did need them. You know, this is getting castled now immediately. And Hans is surviving, always probably even picking up a pawn in some of the lines. Let's check. Not sure what Craig is up to. Trying to get into the 7th. So he's converted, which seems... why is that even necessary? You're kind of helping that bishop. I don't think the bishop's too great there. And now... Okay. Dropped the bishop. Maybe Hans thought Craig took the pawn. Playing too quickly. Okay. So the game took an odd turn there. Hans fighting really well, but then blundering out of the blue. And my point was basically that the bishop was kind of misplaced. You can use that bishop to get your other rook into the game and into the 7th. So I was thinking just rook takes pawn immediately and bringing the other rook in like that. That would have been my long-term idea. And now white is just totally winning, up on the clock. But I think we should try and defend black's position. I think it will make for interesting commentary. No, not just to say that it's over for white, but trying to see how you can make things as worse as possible for white with no pieces, and Sunnyside Bull doesn't feel like you can. I was thinking he's going to show us how to be very active with his king and try to distort the position for a little while longer, but none of that. Einachi still getting his groove, definitely going to take first place as I still see no sign of Daniel Caudry, and actually half Nelson is playing. I'm not sure if he's playing in the tournament. All of Caudry's students. Okay, let's jump into a game. I want to watch more Western Cape players' games, not just Exhibition Such. So let's see what Captain Bat is up to against half Nelson. Okay, and Captain Bat, this is the tactic, it opens up. But be careful, the tactic repeats itself. And Captain Bat is up a piece. In first place. Defending, was that necessary? Don't you rather want that pawn? In any case, let's see how he's going to make his pieces more active. The queen's going to retreat, then you can't lift this rook. So I would have maybe tried the other rook. Then you can get one rook active. See, now he needs to spend an entire 2 moves before he can actually bring this rook into the game. So that's pretty annoying. Playing with a pin, not something I would have done. Makes the king a bit airy. You'd ideally want to play with your 2 rooks now, so getting them into the game quickly would have been key. And even trading there. What's that about? Okay, playing interesting chess. I would have played with my king at least covered by these 2 pawns, but he feels his king is an attacking piece, bringing it out into the game. But okay, I can't say much. This guy's in first place in 1800, and he's up some material now. He can play rook d6 just to... Wait, that doesn't defend anything. I was thinking rook d6 is necessary. Now white is just coming back. Fortunately for him, it feels like the attack, you can defend like this. After rook takes, the attack just switched back. Sup, Irion, you can play more games. In the first hour, I can actually watch some games of yours and maybe help you become less of a putzer. So this game has actually been a weird game of ping pong, considering that there was first the symmetrical double tactic and now symmetrical kind of attack where, well, black is close to being mated. Oh, is this necessary? Can't you? Wait, oh, there aren't any good checks on the light squares. Oh, okay. Well, Irion says he played for Joburg Metros. It's the only team that accepted him. Only team that accepts putzers. You can throw in the, I don't know. I think black is lost now. That giving that extra rook away. Wasn't looking at it too deeply. You can save the position. No, keep the queen. Oh. Yeah, okay, this is lost now. Half Nelson with only 14 seconds. He needs to convert this. Okay. So just get the rook here and run one of these pawns through. Oh no, Half Nelson making things more difficult than it needs to be. He should still be one. You can still pre-move all of this. You get this pawn up. I wouldn't just be going with one pawn. Okay, some tricky stalemate ideas could come here. King can run here now. This pawn might be lost. But now the pawn's through. 5 seconds though. This might just be a draw. Let's see if Half Nelson has the technique to pull this one off. 3 seconds. Captain Bat with the minute. He's definitely trying to draw here. I wouldn't be using my extra piece here as well. Be careful for the stalemates. Okay, now the king. Ooh, the king is definitely ending up here. Wow, you should keep the king on the side of the board if you can. And this is going to be a draw. Okay. Captain Bat, lucky there to get away with the draw. And who's in first place now? Ches Khanya. Okay. Is there anyone you guys would like to watch? Please comment. I can jump into those games. And if Boomer Remove is just starting with the game, we can watch another one of his. He's a solid player, James Dinham. A lot of you might have already lost against him in some tournaments. And we're getting Captain Bat. He's still staying around here, second place. Even after that draw he just had. He goes for a Philidor. And I think Daniil Dubov has been saying the Philidor, although the computer really hates it, he feels that it's going to make a comeback. In the center, the rook's already active. Okay. But now the position is actually pretty equal. And I think this is kind of the nice point Black makes, is that if you aren't getting anything concretely from the Philidor, you're going to feel a bit stupid. Okay, this is weird. But maybe he's playing like Watu does. Just opening up this hole, saying what is your bishop really going to be doing here, unless your queen coordinates with it. Throw the bishop back one day after moving this knight. Or maybe even fianchetto the knight here in the right time. And James Dinham just backing up this bishop, keeping pressure on this square. This knight can actually never move. And these are actually pieces that are shooting at your king. Necessary to pull. Oh, this just drops a piece. Okay. This should be game over. Oops. Bishop takes. Bishop takes. King here. And there's a checkmate. In 2. The mate in 2. Is he going to spot it? Yep, I think he does. Sorry for Captain Bat. It seems like his good days are over. James keeping onto this bishop, which is actually a pretty important piece in these Philidor or Duco Piano or even, Roy Lopez structures. Always targeting that f7 square. And he takes first place. Well done. Still not seeing our friend Daniel Caudry. Hey Narchi, I think we should jump into one of his games. Let's just do that. Okay. He's playing against Ches Khanya, a person that's doing pretty well. He's berserked him. And as I was saying, Narchi's still struggling to find his rhythm. And playing with 2 knights against 2 bishops here, with less time on the clock, but just look at these pawns. They're going to be gone at, I think. Not sure how. Okay, he just marches up. Why can repair some of the pawn damages. And that drops a piece. So sneaky. Okay, that was the idea. I wanted to say, a player like Matt Pond doesn't just repair your pawn structure for nothing. The point was that the piece was hanging. And now he puts his king on a light square, and he's going to make decent progress with this pawn. I'm just going to trade and help this pawn through. Okay, and he can make a queen now. And he's got proper technique. The other player we were looking at a second ago would struggle to mate with 17 seconds or less on the clock. And Enachi versus Half Nelson. I think this is important. Still no word on who Half Nelson is. Enachi doing his typical thing of pushing these pawns. Actually, this is quite typical of his attacks, but I'd expect this knight to have been on h2. We were looking at this structure as well the past time I was commentating on his games. And actually, I tried it in some of my games, and it's pretty nifty. Okay. He's got pretty nifty ideas, I'd say. It seems like everything is back. There was a glitch. Internet isn't too stable. Okay. And what has happened in the game? He's got nice room and places to put his knights on the king side, and for now he's playing on the queen side again. So I'm not too sure what his ideas are. Maybe he knows he's got one weakness in the position. He's going to get rid of it and then shift play to the other side of the board. Okay, very interesting, I'd say. Okay, there's no need to play here because the queen is gone. Being tricky with these knights there against Half Nelson. In any case, so okay, Enachi, wait, he just lost the game since I also disconnected for a second against Captain Bat. It seems like he also had internet connection issues and simply just didn't move. So this is I apologize about the internet. Okay, well, let's get back to the chess. Hopefully this is the last time it happens. I think if it happens again, I might just end the stream. It's not worth it. I usually keep streams offline because of this reason, but let's get to Captain Bad. Western Cape doing well. I think this lead after half an hour this is a substantial lead. Maybe saying that, well, Boomer Remove is the top player for Gauteng at the moment. And I'm not sure who played for Gauteng last time as well that made them so solid. But I want to keep on jumping back to Captain Bat. He's doing really well. But let's look at someone that we haven't seen yet. I think Schwarzenegger, he's just started the game. And this guy's also a decent candidate for first place. I think last time he and well, Matt Pon were struggling for first place. And he's going to get castled. Bishop will get to e7. And if only he had like an extra tempo, this is maybe what he's aiming for with this check. To get the rook here so the black king can't get castled. Okay, he's going to trade and go rook e1, and the black king can't get castled. And this was the deep idea. Maybe worth considering after this check was to simply move the king. Because now he does all of this to move the king. But having the light squared bishop around could have made the defense a bit easier. Where's this bishop going to? Ooh, you really want to do this. This is a huge square. That's a huge square. Actually undefended. Imagine getting your queen there. That's, well, nearly, well, that would be mate. Check, king needs to go there, and mate. That would be a beautiful mate. I think I would have played queen e2 immediately. Yeah, queen e2 immediately seemed, well, if black didn't understand what the idea was, like it would be game over pretty soon. Now he's keeping options open for the queen to use the diagonal and, well, make sure the king doesn't escape. So the king can't escape now, it needs to defend the knight. And actually a move like knight d4 would also be devastating. If pawn takes, simply queen takes. He's going to centralize the queen now, queen d4. You need to keep the pin. Trading queens is going to get rid of the attack. And you don't want to do that. Okay. He trades queens though. Totally something I wouldn't have done. Queen d5 seemed fine. Holding on to the pin and the attack. Now the game has got a second life for black. Black finding this nice square, going after this pawn. Kick the knight away. Yep. I'm not buying what black's doing, or white's doing. I'd even give up that exchange to pick up this annoying pawn. I give up the exchange. And it would seem pretty decent for black, considering how bad it was earlier. Getting rid of the queens was definitely not the best idea. Black can even centralize the king now. There isn't any tactics. Well, maybe there is. You can kick away the bishop first, so don't centralize the king. Okay. Black just going to aim to get rid of this pawn. But you need the knight to do that. It's a bit of an awkward position. So this is still definitely in white's hands, but it could have been over quicker, and now he uses the pin. The pin has been around a while. Could have actually used it there. I didn't notice it. But now it's game over. He can pile up on this pawn. Can't even be defended. Now simply, how do you want to do it? Like this. Check with a knight. And, well, drive the king into the side of the board. Or, as he's doing now, just try and make a queen quickly. Trade one of the rooks. Play rook back here. Yep. And then black is definitely lost. Nice game, Schwarz here, and we're going to be seeing more of him soon. And Craig Willenberg, being the leader of the Western Cape chess team, only 2 people, and I think we remember 10 minutes before they started, they weren't necessarily the team that was leading. A Nachi now finally showing us his worth, coming in there not even with fire, just 2 berserk games, meaning he's probably berserked again. No, this game is going to be 4 points. And it looks pretty decent for him. He's not berserked. He's playing this kingside attack again. Knight on h2. These pawns are going to roll up the board. And his argument is that this knight is going to be an attacking piece very soon behind these pawns. And I've seen this so many times in these games. I saw this at USA's as well, in classical games. But I think it's quite a novel idea. I don't know where he got it from. Probably why I'm saying it's a novel idea. It's a new idea. But it could be that a player like Paul Morphy had the same attacking style, putting the knight on h2 and running those pawns up the board. I'm not saying that Paul Morphy, I'm just saying maybe a different player had the same type of idea. If not, then this is definitely that pawn. Okay, what's this knight doing now? I don't think black considered what this knight will be doing. Maybe g6 is what the knight will be doing, just chilling it out on this square until the exchange gets sacked. And black's coordination now, what is exactly up with all of these pieces on the queen side? Finding a nice outpost. This is actually a nice knight just to trade, because no matter where you're trading it, when the pawn gets to h6 or f6, there's this devastating hole in white's camp. But Matt doesn't want to even attack with the queens anymore. He just wants to go to this endgame where, well, okay, where he's going to be able to win 1 pawn. This pawn is also weak though. This knight's going to come here quickly. So white holding on to pieces, but now black holding on to pieces, but white getting the 7th. Also the knight placed on f6. Yasser Shahrawan will tell you this is where the knight is ideally placed. If you look at all the squares it's attacking in black's camp, especially this h7 square, which would be a mating square if this file opened up. This is devastating. Dropping another piece. Okay. I think it's resign time now. You're playing down a piece and a pawn, and a very strong passed pawn. Matt's just going to defend, get the king up, run the pawn and the rook up. And that should be all she wrote, I think. I don't know why the game is necessarily going on. I think a lot of people would prefer to get in more pairings or more games quickly. And also just let me know, I think I've got 20 minutes, which games you guys would like analyzed. So I can see if I can get to those. He's running 2 pairs of pawns up the board. You can simply put the knight behind the king and run this one through. This is where the knight's going. And this check is coming. No squares for the king. The king needs to go back. He can. I think he's even probably mating then. Okay, so he gets the big 4 points. And still on fire. Is Craig Willenberg in a pairing? Nope, they're going to get paired. Let's wait around for that game. And I think we should be rooting for Craig. He's a bit of the underdog here. Playing for Western Cape. Who need the points, I think, more than Enachi needs the points. They're trying to really get that first place. And what do we have? Okay, I was right about the pairing. E4, E4. Okay, we have a Scandinavian with a Queen D6. This is very ballsy. Scandinavian. No, difficult, very difficult opening for black. And as you see here, he's given up another tempo against because of the queen, and white is queenside castled. So, okay, we can look at Rian PTA Club. Thank you. And I was actually pretty impressed by the queenside castles by Matt. And he's going to be up in development for a while. Maybe Craig has... the trades have maybe suited him. He can go queenside castles. It should be really fine for him. These pawns are... Although the black squared bishop is annoying. Not sure about that trade. Take with this pawn maybe. Go king d7. The argument I'd make is that taking with this pawn is just going to leave these 2 pawns very weak. And the file, although opening up on your king going to d7, it's just a more solid square, connecting rooks already. And the bishop does a good job of just keeping the rooks out from entering immediately. Now you need to figure out how you're going to make the position more dynamic. And I wouldn't not maybe have done this. I think just c6 for now. Okay, he's playing concretely to defend the 7th like this. That's a nice idea, actually. And the position is, I think, completely equal again. The only real difference in the 2 positions is this pawn. And I don't think it's too bad. In some situations, I think, if white manages to keep the rooks active, and this pawn could make a hole, then the white king could enter. But this should just be completely drawn. I think take, maybe, or... Inserting the check doesn't seem to do anything. It's just going to make this giant hole for the... Well, what about... it could be that this pawn is also giving up some tempos in some lines. So I think he's considering check and then recapturing, and after recaptures king here, pawn, and then pushing this pawn, pushing this pawn, pushing this pawn. Something like this at the end of... No, I don't think. This should just be a draw. He can go check as well. I think it should just be a draw. I don't think this pawn gives up an important tempo. I think as soon as you've moved it, well, depends. Well, it might be more tricky. Check and just king. Well, recaptures and king here, and a4 immediately seems a bit annoying. You could go b5. That's the issue though. White could capture, and then you've got these 3 pawns. So he's avoiding this, and now white's getting this. Is white getting to this pawn? He can walk this route, keeping the king active. You can always go back for this. Black's going to run out of tempos. I don't think this was the right way. I think you needed to go for... Now you need to use up your tempos over here. And... No. Not getting that. I don't think this was the idea. I think you would have really liked to go after this pawn. But if they made a draw, they got to... Oh no, wait. The ratings... Oh, there was nothing for black to do here. Yeah, you needed to go h takes g4. White's still got a substantial advantage. No, g5 check. Sorry, I was right. And then go h4. Actually, this is interesting. This is a good endgame to go study, actually, because I think white does have an advantage because of this pawn. And, well, this was a mistake. I just didn't feel right. Saying g5 check, and after king f5, I was considering this line, where you get f1, then go king f7, and then a4. As I was saying, I wasn't sure if you should go c5 now or b5. c5 seems fine, because you're fixing this pawn structure. And it shows you that you do run out of tempos, but I think in a line like this you could be fine with your king over here. You're not allowing the white king in. That's instructive. Okay. Mat pawn managing a win from a drawn position, being very lucky there. And Boomer Remover, are they going to get their pairing? No, Boomer Remover in a different game against Dan Frank, but I'm not sure what the queen is doing on d5 immediately. Let's see what happened. Okay. Oh, okay. Just a bit of an open position. Bishop takes, okay. And d4 instantly. So this has got to be a prepared line. One of the points, I think, is that that bishop is actually, where's it going to? And if you want to develop the knight, then h3 is your only option. So Dan Frank deciding to put the knight on f5 and then develop the bishop via g2. So a bit unorthodox. And I'm getting to Rian PTA Club after this game. That just slipped my mind. Okay, queen a4. Who do I prefer in this position? I think white has done quite a good job getting this knight here, but then the only purpose for the g3 move was to defend the knight. So that might be a bit spacey around the king with all of these squares. And at the same time, I think black is getting to safety a bit more quickly than white is going to be doing. And we've got a bishop versus a knight, but this bishop is looking at the d4 pawn, is babysitting the pawn, and this knight is going to find fantastic square somewhere along these lines. Can you push the pawn? I think he's considering pushing the pawn. You can pick up the pawn as well, but I don't see what. Well, you can maybe use that f2 square for the rook to come sit on, but pushing the pawn seems like a direct threat. And now you can even push f4. The fact that you're opening the king up seems quite nice. But yet again, James is a great blitz player. I think this rating, he's underrated for even lead chess. I think he plays on chess.com a bit more often, where he's at 2200, and we all know you could add a few rating points between these two sites. AC8, holding on to this protected passed pawn, and not sure when to launch this attack. Get the queen over here, start checking, because that will open up the square. But still action on the queen side now. Maybe looking for this square before the... Well, now the rook's freed up, so now f4 is going to be a bit more devastating. This is a nice idea. Also, this comes with tempo against the bishop, which then immediately moves to this very awkward square on h5, where what is it really doing? As you can see, black isn't really worried about this side of the board where this bishop's kind of pointing at, but does pick up a pawn on this side of the board. Playing on both sides of the board is black. Quickly finds a square where the knight's defended, saying that if you go... Sorry, why can't I draw arrows? F takes. My bishop's just going to run back to this side of the board. Look, nice find, and if you trade, you're giving up your strong knight. So what to do? He trades. Trade again, maybe. Weaken these pawns, and then just attack them. I think one of the issues is maybe d5, since the queen and rook are coordinating. You could go d5 immediately, give up the rook, take this rook, play down 2 pawns. I don't think you'd like to do that. You can go check, and then check again. But then rook f6 seems to win material. So they go into an endgame where black is decisively better. You've got this fast pawn, and white needs to worry about this pawn for the time being as well. You can put your king on d5, or you can even try and make another outside passed pawn. So A few threats here in White's camp. White is going to put his king on e2, so defends the pawn as well. Okay, he'd like to get behind the pawn, but kicking the king. Oh, unfortunately, he blundered. Well, that check is going to be annoying. You need to keep the king close to the rook. But what do you do now? You could go completely into a pawn endgame. Yeah, this seems winning. The king, yeah, this wins. Get the king round about here. The king needs to always guard the outside pass pawn. Go for it. Yep, he does it. And trying to see if there's like a triangulation. No, the king needed to go to c4, if anything. But now black's just won. He makes... Ooh. Okay, wait a minute. Okay, his pawn's going to queen first. Okay, this is just one. You can stop... Oh, this check... Wait a minute. No, that check doesn't do anything. Okay, I'm being a noob with this endgame. Black is just one. Even that square's covered. You can take here now. 28 seconds. The boomer remover is going to be doing it. And has Einachi finished his game as well? No, he's still struggling against... Well, this is interesting. Let's just jump to it. We'll get to Rian now. But Einachi has got 2 knights. And let's just see how instructive this position is, because he's going to be picking up, I think, all of these pawns soon. Just thinking of how to defend this pawn. Maybe put this knight here. And this rook is useless, actually. These knights finding now nice outposts and squares to attack. Black going to be making progress. Only 2 knights versus a rook, but still a lot of pawns on the board. Maybe if there were less pawns, then it would be more drawish. So I think before trading down into this type of endgame, you try and get rid of as many pawns as possible. Okay. What's black going to get up to now? c5? Ooh. That was so cool. I thought for a moment he blundered, but that was all sorted. And boomer remover probably already deep into a game. Yeah, seems to be. Nightmare. Starting a... Wait. Before I go into this game now. Okay, I need to quickly search for Rian. But as I was saying, the search function didn't want to work earlier. Now it does. He's playing against a Nate, and they've kind of just started, so we can quickly run to the start of the game. And knight f6. This is kind of theory. These guys are playing nice theoretical lines. Bishop a6. This is annoying. You don't want to trade or finding a nice square for this bishop quickly. Some people would have liked to put it on the diagonal, but you're not causing as many problems as you should be doing for white then. d6 makes room for the knight to join the game. But I think white has got quite a big structure in the center. If he can maybe get it rolling, I wouldn't know what to do with this bishop really. Maybe first centralize the queen and then the rook and then rear out this bishop. Maybe you can do the same thing that black's doing. Put your bishop on a3. Stop the development of this d5 pawn. In any case, c5 was played, and white should have maybe just left the pawn to be captured, played with the center like this, and then pushed later on. But instead he closes it, and doesn't that lose a pawn? No, it doesn't. I think there's a piece hanging. You need to be careful. After knight takes, white can play bishop takes. So the position is closing up now. We've e4. Oh, that's just a blunder. And now Rian is playing up a piece and solidifies this bishop on this great square and centralizes the rook, finds a nice outpost for this knight. And this is the position we've reached. And I think he should be converting this pretty easily. I think we're going to be looking at one of his games before we move into the last hour of this tournament, where we will be watching pretty much the leaders, and where I should be keeping a closer look at the sneaky Mr. Clarence 1, 2, 3, 4, who has actually played this tournament a few times now, joining in the end. I even missed him joining last time, and I was keeping a thorough eye on his account. But I'd like to catch one of his games. And what has happened here? The queen trade is being forced. If there was like a way to move with tempo without recapturing the queen, that would be a back rank. So I think he's going to sack here. And white's going to... I'd be sacking here right again. I'd have sacked there just to confuse the guy and back rank him. What do you want to do here? You can just win this endgame 3 pawns up. Okay, and I'm going to get back to Rian's next game. Let's just do kind of an hourly recap. 430 points for Western Cape. Gauteng North 367. They're finally getting in those big points, showing that these are actually the two teams that are competing against each other today. The other teams, nowhere to be found. Okay, I must say that this isn't too big a gap. 60 points between first, second, and third, and less between third and fourth. A chess gamer playing really well for Western Cape. We're going to jump into a game of his. He has been berserking, it seems. No, in the beginning he berserked, but then he started playing consistently. So we can go look at one of his games. We're just waiting for Mr. Rian's game to end, and then we'll jump into his next game. So I just want to watch the... Okay. No, wait. He's already in a different game. So I missed some action already. He finished that quickly. Thought it would take a bit longer. And it seems like he likes these type of closed positions for black. The Sicilian. There he gets thrown a sneaky bishop. And he's playing against Captain Bat, a player who was leading this tournament at a point. I would have just gone c4 now, even though it opens up the bishop. The queen needs to go back. You can go knight takes c3 with tempo, then take the bishop, check, and then only sort out the situation with my rook and this bishop. But honestly, I don't even think I would. I would just go bishop g7. After getting rid of this light squared bishop, you can start attacking pretty quickly. This is a really nice fork. I hope Rian sees it. He does. And this player is going to really... Oh, just blunder a queen, and he resigns. Well done to Rian. I enjoyed all the snippets of his games. And it's starting to become a runaway for Mr. Matt Pon. The only player that can really take him down properly is Daniel Caudry, but he hasn't been playing this as often anymore. Okay, let's see if he's not in the game yet. So let's start watching his games. I think it's going to be starting to get pretty serious now. And okay, this is a nice ending. He's gonna... Oh, he made a draw. I think he could have played for the win here. He was up on the clock. Just shouldn't be using the same squares to check with. He's gonna be mad about this one. His opponent only had 2 seconds left. This was a typical position to flag in. Chess Gamer apparently not joining again. Nightmare 101. Inachi waiting for his pairing. And now we're actually truly hitting the hour mark. And the 60 point lead is definitely still true after this 1 hour. And Inachi has gone berserk, and I like it when he does this against weaker opponents. And when he goes berserk, we'll see he sets up this d3. Nothing special breaking open the center. He keeps stuff closed. We're going to see some kind of pawn advance. I was even expecting h4 from him, but f4. And now play on the king side. The knight just goes back to f3. The knight's favorite square on the board, except if it manages to come to f6. f3 and f6 are knight's favorite squares. Trying to think, if I'm Matt Pon, how do I want to play forward? So he wants this trade, because king h7 is always going to leave this weakness, or the pawn will just be weak in itself. So he's just keeping the knight there. I'm expecting black to play this type of pin. Or okay, rook here, just backing up behind this pawn. And now he's looking for a different type of home for this knight. He's got way less time than his opponent. His opponent has actually been pretty sassy, using little time. Well, as I was saying this, he'd only used like 30 seconds. And Matt's 30 seconds are going to cost him. So I like how his opponent's been playing it. Positionally, there might be only one weakness, but it's defended. This isolated pawn. And black playing solidly. Glenn Leslie 2,700. That would probably not be the real rating, but we've got a 1980 rating. And Matt Pawn just waiting around now. You can't do much as white. I think black has actually sorted out quite a lot of his problems, and your bishops are doing the same thing as black's, looking across at the queen side. Ideally, if you wanted to attack, they'd need it to be somewhere around here. So he's waiting for black to make the decision when to trade, and black very strongly doesn't. Still the one weakness in the position. Matt shifts his attention to it. And can he play queen c? Yeah, he could have. Now he's waiting for black to trade so that he could maybe double up on the pawn, bring the bishop around to c3. Black's still not trading. This player is not giving Matt the trade he wants. Now he did, though. The one trade he does give actually helps Matt quite a lot. You need to defend this pawn immediately, and I'm pretty sure this check could have picked up a pawn if Matt really was desperate for a pawn. But okay, he's playing this positionally. Only 30 seconds on the clock. Maybe, oops, is this not going to be bishop going to be trapped? Still these squares open for it. It can actually fianchetto like this in white's camp. Fianchetto, queenside in white's camp, and bishop d4 seems very cool. This pawn isn't advancing. Black spawns on the dark squares though. If white can activate this bishop, somehow can also get active. Matt actually, if he wanted to get rid of the bishop, he'd have to do something like this, but the bishop can be annoying. So he looks to trade off the bishop, go into like a one rook pawn endgame, make the king more active before he trades, and now black trades. This is weird. I think if you capture, you're walking into a dead draw. White offers draw. Matt just drawed. Okay. Great game. I don't think that last, well, I think he was waiting around too much there. And what does this do to the standings? Western Cape still looking very comfortable in the lead there, but their top player hasn't been active, and Gauteng North's top player has managed another 2 points. Nightmare Schwarstier still in that top 10. Craig Willenberg also still in the top 10, and a player from Oeverberg. I think we should be featuring this guy. Oeverberg is a lovely district in our country. Pretty much when you go further than the Boeland, when you cross those mountains, you get a big piece of land which is over the mountain, Oeverberg. And they have canola fields there, which is quite pretty at certain times of the year. Okay, what to do about this d5 pawn? After this trade, this pawn is being hit a few times. Yep. What's white doing now? How are you defending this pawn? I don't think you are. Black can simply take the pawn. Why dropping a pawn? Ugh. Oh, the queen isn't defended. Okay, so tactically I'm not too aware of what's happening. I think bishop e6. But then you're dropping a piece. So he gives up the queen for 2 minor pieces. I also thought this might be necessary, but now the bishop's pinned. Okay, you could maybe try and trap the white queen in return, but just there's too many squares for the queen to go to. What's that about? That's nasty. Oh my word. Oh my word, this is beautiful. A player from the Oeverberg picking up, oh no. Beautiful reply to that, just to make a point that you can't capture this knight because the rook will be hanging. But then this is played in return, noticing that 2 knights are defending it. I didn't notice that in the beginning, and now kicking the queen back. So what you have in turn for the queen is 2 knights, giving up a pawn just to get more active with your rooks. Well, if white takes the pawn, bishop e5 seems very nice for black. Placing the bishop on this long diagonal. Black's still not even defending this pawn, knows that he's got this move. Bishop d5 in any case seems good now. And this is making for a very exciting game. These are the types of imbalances I like seeing. Queen versus two knights. And a pawn. Well, black's also got a pawn for that knight, and it's on the queen's side. If he could manage to get those pawns rolling, keep his king side safe, then I might start preferring black. White should try and start an attack on the king side. I think black might just struggle to defend. I mean g4. Get the coordination of the rooks out. Try and open a file. Or try and give back some material with a tactic in mind. If you can manage to... Oh, wait a minute. There's only one good square for that queen. And just move your rook now, black, and white's queen is non-existent. It's still on the board, but just go back with your rook. Rook c8. Oh, well, I guess the queen gets out then. Maybe he's setting up a tactic. You need to... I don't know. He goes rook c8, but the queen slips out now. I was thinking when the rook was still here, maybe... That's actually pretty tricky. Maybe knight back. Yeah, knight back. Oh, then you don't defend this piece anymore. Okay, interesting. White not saving his queen, getting it out of this little gap here. Gives black maybe the opportunity to play b6. That square opens on the queen. This is a very badly placed queen. A very, very unorthodox game so far. This is so far the highlights of the tournament. Bishop c6. Still an escape square for the queen. Another escape square. There's no discovery on the king. I think white's just going to take the pawn now. White should be taking the pawn. Okay, just saves the king from a check, maybe. Oh, the check, you need to give up the exchange. Then the recaptures also comes with tempo against the queen. That was pretty dirty from black over there. Now only white saves the queen. Knight still doing a good job of keeping the queen. Very awkward, only one good square for the queen. You can't go rook there. Queen's covering that square, so now black is taking too long. I think this strategically is a difficult position to play with this type of imbalance. I like black's position though. I think if I had to play it, I'd probably even prefer playing the black side of the position because of this bishop. And this very centralized knight, if you can just manage to do something with your rooks, I think white will be suffering soon. Black king's also pretty fine. You can go rook e6. You need to start getting your rooks active. Rook e7. Okay, he goes for the file, which is a good idea. 13 seconds to go. 27 for one-way Jesus. Rook e8. And okay. Rook e7, maybe keeping both rooks on the board was more aggressive. You need to start attacking now as black. Now's the time. Rook d7. I think black's going to get flagged now. Rook d7. You need to play rook d7 as soon as possible now. 1 second left. This isn't happening for black. He's not pulling this off. Marching pawns up. And actually, this is not checkmate, king h4, but well, he's surviving checkmate here. Crazily. Okay, but got flagged. And Chess Gamer, is he back yet? No, 34. Still leading for Gauteng, but Joburg Metro. 3 solid players up there. The Union not doing too great, but those 3 players keeping them up there. And in the meanwhile, this margin has grown less between Gauteng North and Western Cape. I've only been away for 10 minutes from the margins, and it's... Wait, I'm not doing my maths. I thought that was like an 80, not a 5. In any case, the margin is still relatively the same, about 70 points, and less than 70. Let's jump into... Okay, South African Monster. He seems to be playing now, and this is probably the time I need to start checking if Mr. Clarence. Let's just go to Clarence 1, 2, 3, 4. Because he's definitely going to be playing one game somewhere in the tournament. He played like 5 games last time. So just keep our eyes over here. No games. May 23 he did play, I think, in this tournament. No, wrong date. Okay. Let's get back to, well, let's see which game is South African Monster. This seems Joburg Metro. A player that's not up in the top 10 yet, but seems very solid. And he's doing well against Matt. Got 2 rooks. But Matt probably did this as a strategic thing. I missed the most of the game. But these 2 pawns are pretty solid. And giving... Oh. This is tricky. Tricky for both players. This was nice from White's perspective. I think you can put your king on g2 and you've solved a lot of your issues. Even king f2 seems to solve this huge attack Black had with this center and the bishop. Now there's only 1 pawn left. And how many attackers are there? The 3 attackers, 3 defenders. You can go king f2. And, well, this just feels like you're defending the piece. You can go back with rook g1. But instead gives up the exchange. Was that necessary? Not necessary at all. 3 defenders. Okay. That I wouldn't understand. So a few quick moves. King runs over to this pawn. But now Matt's definitely in the driver's seat. He's going to attack this pawn yet again. With the bishop and rook. And now, oh, okay, the monster did a few weird things there in the end. I think he had a, well, quite a good game and then ended up doing that. Okay. Something very weird. The monster's not on the top page as well. I think just not a good game yet, day yet for the monster. And Kenny showing his face again. Playing against the blunderist. And this seems like they played a very sharp opening. I'm quite... Okay, so from a Scandinavian, Kenny pushed these 2 pawns up and just kept on pushing them. And queen f3. Interesting. Oh, okay. Oh, he's playing for the fans, but queen f1. Maybe it survives because this bishop is nowhere to be found. Still, this should just be a perpetual for black if he wants it. Oh, white making progress. Where's the perpetual now? Is this check? Where's the king go? Here, and then this check. King here. Yep. And you can pick up the rook all the way back here, or you could give up the exchange like that. Because at the end of the day, you're still hitting the queen. And Kenny playing really a very interesting line here. I have not seen this before. I like it. He picked up a piece. Tempo against the queen. No more checks left, picking up the rook. This king is actually devastatingly weak. How are you developing over here? This is just lost. And checkmate on the board. I was completely oblivious to that checkmate. Let's keep to another one of Kenny's games. He's going to be starting soon. We can catch all the action. Seems like he's in the mood for some interesting chess. So, and that's what I like the most, some interesting chess. Okay, he's playing against Bosman Jeremy 0-0. Millennial player probably, and berserking him. You got to berserk someone with that name. C5. Why captures? That captures is actually quite painful. But now playing for the center quickly and reaching like a classic Sicilian position where you've traded the pawn. And, well, it's still pretty equal. Where does this knight go now? Actually, all the way back. Okay, he's heading back for this square. He might need to prep that with something like a5. B6 maybe. What's that about? Bishop b7. And it was quite a short game. Today is terrible. This is okay. So basically, this pawn was pinned, and he managed to exploit the pin, pick up a pawn, and his opponent maybe just didn't need to take. Oh, and Kenny's playing against Archie. So actually, I wanted to watch this from Kenny's perspective. Archie playing very interesting. Kenny playing interesting. Sorry. Let's jump to his TV. I want to watch it from this side. Queen e2. Playing moves that maybe allow, well, without this pawn, the knight going to d5. But even now, I think this is kind of one of the ideas of queen e2. Setting up a queenside castle. And if anyone here wants to take down Matt, it's probably Kenny. Okay, Matt played a similar type of game against Masia at the USAs, where he kept his king in the center, closed off the position, and then played a devastatingly... Well, he didn't play the stack, Masia did, but in the end of this devastating long line, he was actually quite alright. So... Okay, rook d1. I am liking... Who am I liking? I'm not sure about that last bishop trade. I think it was necessary. So, who am I liking here? C takes. E takes may be better. E takes was maybe better, yeah. C4 now. This is annoying. And D3. Look at these two pawns. Just chilling it out in white's camp. Oh no, this is going to be a terrible endgame for Kenny. Not down any material, but how... Ooh, these pawns they just keep rolling. And the pawns that are backing them... Okay, white resigns. It's just the... No, this is just tricky to play. You're not stopping any of these pawns. Oh, that was bad. Okay. At least we saw one brilliancy. And Kenny's in pause mode after taking that first place. The Joburg Metro guys still sticking their heads out above the rest. And let's watch Nightmare, also against Kenny. We'll go back to Kenny's perspective. And he's playing against Joburg Metro guy. Oh. Treating the knight to f1. He's going to play h3. Knight g3. Just keep the bishop out for now. Yeah. Pin's a bit annoying. And knight e3. This is actually quite nice. You can go really to any side of the center of the board. g6 just stopping knight f5. And okay, this is going to be, I think, a bit of a slower game. Black looking for knight f4 himself, similar to the knight f5 ideas, but now knight d5, I think, might be a... No, knight d5, c6. And then you need to do something with your knight again. No, not that. Knight to c3. Okay, so he goes knight g4. More active, maybe looking to trade down over there. Now giving this up. I think this is going to come instantly. I don't know why that took so long. Okay. I think he knew he was going to play it. Just taking a second to make sure. G5 shuts down a bit of white's activity, but knight d4 immediately would have probably been kind of like a game over, I'd say. Because you can't do this as soon as the bishop comes to g7, it'll just get traded. And now the knight's actually lost. Oh no. Wait, knight takes f7. Is it a saving grace? Nope, queen f6 check. Oh. Okay. No, the game would have been over after knight d4 over here. I just see the knight coming here as such a devastating piece on this light square, but okay, he plays rook h1. We're going to play down a piece now, and Nightmare is not going to slip up. But, okay. Let's just watch for a few more seconds. Sometimes more tricky to push in these types of closed positions where the bishop doesn't really have any targets. Only this b2 square, and Kenny closes that diagonal. He's going to play b4 now. b4 maybe, and d4. Maybe it's time to start his own attack. Yep, this is what he does. He's going to double. Try and win another pawn. And this might be more tricky for black than I initially suspected. Okay, b4 now. He's going to shut down the position and make sure this bishop never gets a good square. You can throw that rook back. But now c5 even, with the idea of playing... Wait, can you ever play this? Takes. takes. I need to calculate. Nope. Well, you can. 2 rooks here. A4. Bishop takes. Oh, but then maybe just B4. Oh, but then bishop can go back. Okay, I'll need to go back to that. I'm not finding the idea too quickly. Rook H1. Now these rooks are getting active. He can pick up the D6 pawn, but first wants to sort out the pawn structure on the other side of the board, and gives up the C3 pawn. Knows he can take the C6 pawn with tempo then when doing so. And he's holding on now. He's going to play B4. Not even playing B4, giving up this pawn. What's the idea? Rook B5 check. Get the king active. No mates yet. I think king... No, might be a blunder because of F6. I have to move this rook, and then this bishop comes to there to check. So shuts off the bishop first before looking for a way to make the king active. E5 also a way of making sure the king doesn't come out and defending the rook. Giving this square for the king as well, E4. You can go to F5. Okay, this is a strong move. Very annoying. Oh no, well done, Kenny. That was the idea. Picking up this rook. Actually shutting off the bishop like this. And wins that game. Totally lost position. Manages to help his team out. He's in pause mode again. Just probably celebrating that last win. That was pretty crazy. And I'm seeing a player. Another future GM. It's just the username, not myself seeing potential in them. And okay, let's do the usual checkup on clearance. Okay, nothing. He's not in the game yet. Nightmare still very solid over there. Kenny really representing today. Playing against Filter. I want to watch another one of these. Captain Bat still not leaving. Well, still negotiating some prizes with these top guys. I mean, 25th place, but playing against the first place guy. Himself being pretty prominent in this tournament. And being one of the players to take down Enachi, as you can see down there. Opponent to be reckoned with today. And I'd say here he's got the advantage of... Ooh. Oh, okay. Okay, I don't know what that was. Okay, this is going to be over quickly. That was a Pisak. I was actually saying his position is actually quite fine, and he's going to have an advantage because he's got time to think. But he was using less time to try and put some pressure on Matt, so then that didn't go too well for him. And the monster is also coming up and playing against Panageo, and we haven't seen Panageo today. Let's watch the next game as well. We'll watch another Panageo game. And the player from the Western Cape, and he was leading the last tournament. I think even got the first place. A phenomenal 1900. As you can see here, he's also playing up a piece. The monster trying to run these two pawns up the board with less time on the clock. Panageo, he's getting in rook b2. But c7, this is tricky. Maybe push c7 directly. Check. The rook can come back. So you can't do that. You need to trade and get your queen, but still play down the piece. Maybe just c7. How exposed is this king? Can black actually make proper progress? And I think Panageo is getting this game. And that's pretty exciting. I think he might be moving up in the lists, only in 35th place. Stops White's ideas from making a queen in these last seconds, but I think he can set up mate, and there's nothing to be done. Yep, even making a queen now wouldn't help the South African monster one bit, because checkmate is on the board. And, well, okay, I guess the TV will take me to his next game, so we can probably just see the start of the game while we wait. And we have an Aljekain, very nice. D6. And I've got a cool game on the Aljekain on my channel. And it's Watu Kabisi. One of those games where he's got like flames behind him. He plays the Alyekan in that game and takes down a super GM. I think Kirill Dimitrov with a very nice type of sideline novelty in the Alyekan. I enjoyed that game. One of my favorites from all of these analysis. I think this is the tactic, and I think Panageo. Whoa. This wins on this. No, okay, black and recapture. But before that, okay, okay, my tactical mind is a bit down. I was thinking the only way it really wins on the spot is if black goes bishop takes. If black pushes this pawn, this tactic is going to come into play. So be careful to push c6, because then knight takes g6 is a true threat. Even after h takes, then bishop takes d6 and taking the bishop. But okay, this won't be a blunder anymore because the queen's communicating with the bishop now. So nothing too tactical. Panageo taking a bit of a spatial leap here, and he has gone berserk against a player that's rated, well, similarly to him, actually higher rated, the few rating points. And this is very, very ballsy. Yeah, and he spent half a minute compared to his opponent's minute, and this is how you should be using your berserk time. 30 seconds for each stage of the game, at least. Allow yourself at least that, and make sure that you're using, well, if it's a ratio, make sure you're using the same amount of time as your opponent. So he should be spending a minute while you're spending 30 seconds. And if you're as good as Panageo is, then make sure that you get a better position as well. Where something like a knight coming to one of these two squares is totally possible. F6, F3 might not be such a big threat. Or is it F3? Yeah, his opponent playing well, but he sorts it out actually pretty quickly. I think he's, if F3, then a knight G5 and then simply takes here. So definitely Panageo taking this game home. Knight G5, the move I pointed out, should, yep, just clear the way for him. Also, if queen moves, then you can simply trade and go for this endgame where your knight's still got stunning squares to go to, and this captures is not doing much. Queen takes, check. And Panageo playing very nice chess. I really think his rating should be comparatively higher. Definitely not a 1900. I've watched a few of his games before, leading that tournament last time like this. But yet again, a lot of people, they're better than their online ratings. Just don't take the online rating too seriously. One of the things I found is that taking the online rating seriously actually it's quite a big challenge on its own. You can actually see that there are some limits to how well you can play, and pushing that further is one of the ways to maybe try and improve your chess. It's a resourceful way because everybody's got a computer at home and can try doing it like that. Panageo playing on the 7th now. And, well, he's going off this pawn, but he can even, well, that's pretty nasty. Up to some nasty tricks over there. Down to 14 seconds. And 12, 11, 10. No, you should be moving. This should be pre-move time. Take. And now simplify as soon as possible. That's a nice way. I think he was considering giving up the exchange. And now he can... Oh, okay, he's running away with this game now. 5 seconds to go. And pre-move. Come on, get these moves in. The best types of games are if you look at like how some of the chess bros do it, when Yasser Sarwan plays, and when he gets down to like 10 seconds, one of the other guys take over with the clock. And that's usually enough for them to play, but... That's probably why his rating wouldn't be too high. He'd get flagged a lot. And, okay. What is going on with the tournament? Time to take a look again. Half an hour left. 6:43, 5:58. So this gap is becoming much larger. And I feel so slow with my maths at the moment. But... this is definitely bigger than a 70-point lead. It's about an 80, well, even more, 40, it's about an 80-point lead. So it seems like Western Cape are cruising in this one. Gauteng North, they've been known to get those points in the last minute, so I'm not discounting them yet. And Joburg Metro, actually struggling against Nelson Mandela Bay. And any new players having joined this top 10? Not many I'm seeing. Maybe we should be looking at V Freeman. There's usually someone from Nelson Mandela Bay in the top 10, and he's playing against Mr. South African Rhino, who's gone berserk against him. And playing the Scandinavian, the Rhino has actually lost his previous game against V Freeman. Nelson Mandela Bay, also a very strong chess union. In the tournament, I usually play after this tournament, the USA's, the University of South Africa chess tournament. Well, they had a grandmaster playing for them, Sahaj Grover, an alumni of. Well, that was nice, but I think Black could have taken the Black could have taken that pawn. That's the problem with berserking. You're not finding those smaller nuances. And V Freeman is going to use this file. He's going to put his king on h1. Oh, he's first looking just to sort out this pawn. And even in an endgame, white is now preferable because of the bishop versus knight. But also, he could try and create a passed pawn now in the center with this pawn majority here. This big pawn mass. Sorry, these 4 pawns versus these 3. And there's definitely potential for making a passed pawn. But for now, he's going to be using it to create a big center. Maybe put the king on h1 and then push f4. King h1 is just the preparatory move to play f4 usually. But it might even be weaker on h1 because of the diagonal, and white's bishop isn't doing much. I think he's considering a4. King h1 is played, but a4 could have prevented this. Maybe it's not too bad getting this bishop away. So what to do here? You need to keep control of this square and not block the movement of your pawn. So I would have gone queen e3. Contains the knight, allows you to play f4 still, which is a long-term strategic idea. He'll go queen e3 now soon, I think. Or maybe he's keeping his eye on the knight for a specific reason to go rook g1, which is also not, I think, a bad idea, because you're still containing the knight and pretty much saying you need to go back to f6. But instead he's shifted ideas, and he's playing on this side of the board now, dropping a pawn. He can get active like this if he wants to drop another pawn. If he wants to defend this pawn, I wonder what would be necessary. Something like rook b1? No. Queen c3, but b4, what now? You need to trade queens. Okay, black giving white another chance to play d5 and shut this queen out. Comes with a check. Problem with b4 was that d5 check hangs the queen, which is giving you check. So white got a saving grace there. This knight isn't doing too much. Getting to the knight via d5 would have been a stronger idea, holding onto that pawn, but black is too concerned about the knight to start picking up this pawn and the bishop. Yet again, probably just the berserking. Okay, what are the concrete ideas for white here? And okay, rook b1 just to defend. It's a bit sad to defend the pawn, but the queen was trapped. Oh, the queen was trapped. Bishop b3 trapped the queen. V Freeman giving black another chance. Not moving quickly enough as well. I start getting the time rolling as well. Black berserked you. You easing up on the clock over there, and black is now going to definitely try and play for the win now. Knight f4, winning move. White blundered this game away. And from having the queen trapped to this position, that must be devastating for V Freeman. He's going to continue playing 40 seconds versus 20, but this rook is coming to c2. And, well, I think black is just going to play around until he breaks through via f2. This is also very nice. You can even try and running through queenside pawns. Not much to do for white here. The furthest pawn break to get at this center is too far away. e6 is also not doing anything. V Freeman also, South African Rhino only using 6 seconds on his clock during all of this. Very fortunate to have come away with the win is the Rhino, as his queen was trapped merely seconds ago. And now he's pushing through. 11 seconds of time advantage. And an easy game actually. Just giving up the knight so that there's no troubles during this time scramble. Putting in a check, which is always important when you're trying to flag. And just pick up the queen now even. Okay. How is he going to flag? Maybe V Freeman pulls off some sort of miracle here with 1 second. I doubt it. 3 seconds and this is game over, I think. Oh, he's still moving. Check. The check is the last move. 0-0-0-8 is the Rhino. He took him down to the last seconds, which is pretty good. And now Western Cape with 700 points versus 580, I'd say, just to do the maths and say that, well, there's a 120 point difference. Western Cape showing their class. Kenny running up there. He wants to take one of the first places. And he's just finished the game versus the Monster. And he went down. Okay. He should be getting a pairing now. You know, he's gone back to pause mode. And I'm seeing more Western Cape names jump into this top 10 place. Paradox and Jay-Z Number. We haven't actually seen this player featured in the top 10 so far. And is he in a game? Against who is he playing? Against Nightmare. Second place player. And let's watch this game. 23 minutes to go. Number 2 versus number 7. And, well, it seems like number 1 is kind of running away with it. If Clarence joins, it should be in these last few seconds. And he's still offline. Okay, so no Mr. Clarence for us. And it should be another one of those tournaments that going to Matt Pon. And starting to assess this position, I'm not too sure what's happening. White finding a creative way to get active, but I think black is also just perfectly fine. Knight e4 from white now, or knight h3. Knight here, knight takes, bishop takes seems fine. And then with pawn pushes, you've always got knight a4. But Jay-Z, number 1 Western Cape player, running up with the rankings, and definitely a player we should feature in this tournament, playing against Nightmare 101, Joburg Metro player. And, well, number 2 in the tournament so far. Actually having a great tournament. And who's to be preferred here? I think this is quite equal. There's nothing interesting really. How to navigate an endgame with 4 knights on the board and a bunch of pawns. Only 1 pawn trade throughout the entire game. It's a bit of a, if you would allow me to say, a nightmare. Okay, knight d2. He's looking to get his knight in somewhere over here. Target a pawn. And it feels like black's the first to start rolling his pawns up the board, with the queenside pawns being advanced already. And he's going to be looking to make some kind of imbalance. If there's a trade, he's going to play knight takes to hold on to this better pawn structure. And now simply knight c5 to defend this pawn, or pushing, he's considering. But you don't want to be provoked into pushing your pawns too much up the board, where they are the ones that are going to be targeted. But white keeping his king around, playing very soundly. And king d2. Maybe just trying to get over to the side of the board. Defend these pawns, saying that these pawns are quite advanced. If I can get my king close, I can maybe try and pick up a pawn. Maybe set up an attack and go b4. Run the king closer, I'd say. And this is a tricky position for both sides. Blitz game, but you'd see they're both having to spend quite a lot of time per move. Calculating what these knights are up to is not a pleasant thing. That's why they sometimes say in a blitz game the knight is a bit more worth than the bishop. Well, especially in bullet, I think that holds true. You can go after that pawn. Your knight's not getting trapped. Oh wait, it is. No, you can go back to the square after, yeah. So, but with 4 knights on the board, these players are going to get highly confused now. And black now finding a nice pawn push. You need to move the piece back, and now c3 actually makes this very awkward. This is going to be black's game, I feel. The queenside setup is very nice, with this knight actually pinning down the king. And it feels like you can even start to... I can start to imagine how black would negotiate an attack on this king, or even this weak pawn back here. And he's just advancing his pawns all over on the board. Probably just going to go h5 and claim that he's going to close this position up and find devastatingly nice outposts for his knights. And that he's... Well, you can just look at where the pawns are on the board. White's pawns are still not even past the 3rd rank. And black has also got a pawn all the way over to the 3rd rank. It trades, but I think after pawn takes... And I think we should be evaluating this position the same as you'd kind of do a rook pawn endgame position, where first thing you look at is the the rook activity. So we'll look at the knight activity here, and what can white's knights really do? As you can see, it doesn't really progress further than these squares. Even if it manages to get you, they're pretty stuck. So he makes a new square for his knight, but where's the knight going to? Okay, so in terms of that, black's knights have the whole board to maneuver around, and his pawns are way more active. Also, this leads to a time advantage for black. So I think in a classical game, this should be okay, like winning clearly for black. Black can simply try and get to this square. He's not even going to be fancy. He's just going to win on the clock. His position is way more simple to play. White has to give up a knight. And the nightmare. How did I miss that pun? I made the pun, but I missed that it was inherent in his name. Really threw Jay-Z number with a particularly bad nightmare over there. That was some beautiful, beautiful chess. And what do we have? We have the Western Cape continuing this lead, but it feels like the lead, I said just now, was about 80 points, and now we've reached about 120 points. Western Cape being so dominant. The monster's still up there, making his presence felt, taking away this 3rd place from, I think, was Schwarstier's place. We had Joburg Metro people in the top, and Matt Bond still running away with the tournament. Still no sign of Clarence, and well, the Nightmare playing some nice chess over there. I think what's happening? Archie has got a bit of a weird endgame over here, so that game's finishing up. Kenny's still in pause mode. Not sure when he started again, but he's been in and out of pause mode. And okay, I want to get to a game I haven't watched, someone I haven't watched before in the top 10 over here. Panageo, he's making his way up, as also I was expecting. So let's watch one last one of his games. He's still in berserk mode, still berserking players. Higher rated than he is. And this is actually a regular opponent of his. He's got the... I think he's got this player's number. He's leading 17-14. Gone queenside. And black's king is still quite central. So if he can manage to open up the center a bit. Play rook G1 now. And maybe do something even with this passed pawn. I'm struggling to see why he wouldn't play this immediately. Bishop takes and then queen. There you go. It comes with tempo. I think maybe this is stronger, but I feel like black. Yeah, I think bishop takes immediately really would have disrupted the position more than this order does. Black gets queenside castle, but this check, you can't go pawn there. Oh, this is losing for black. You can play knight back. I wanted to say conquer pawn because of this push, and queen there walks into the trade, and the knight also hangs. Wait, it doesn't hang. Check, queen here. No, it doesn't hang, sorry. So But still, the idea of this bishop containing the king and queen using this diagonal to check with, still a very key idea, I think, for Panageo over here, giving him quite an advantage. This pawn is being hit now, though, and might just need to go. Oh, this is now shifting a bit. Can come with check, and even d4 seems nasty now. Making big progress, going for this mating net type of idea. And can he leave everything behind and go for it? There's this check first, and way to trade on queens. White can defend this square, he should be safe, because then he can trade on queens. But I think he's just completely lost now. He can even try a rook takes, but, well, maybe a rook takes, queen takes. Oh, this is lost for white. Mating idea is just too strong. And queen a3 should be game over. Not seeing... Wait. He's got one sneaky reply. Queen takes, but even then, king there. And where's your next check? This pawn's defended by the queen. So Panageo is still trying to be tricky. But this is game over. Down on the clock, down in the position. 3 seconds to go. But rook e7 should be fine, but sets up the mate threat and gets mated before his time runs out. Okay, so not the greatest game for him over there. But Luthor, being Western Cape's leader at the moment, and I think we're running to the notch as he starts a game in the Scandinavian, and we haven't really missed any action. Against the 1200 position 75, he gets quite a comfortable pairing, if I'm allowed to say so. Though let's just analyze how this 1200 is playing, because it could just be a sandbagger. A lot of these 1200s want you to berserk against them, and you can actually go look at all of the top rated players. They've all lost against 1200s that have sandbagged at some point in time. Okay, but Matt Pawn, I don't know how. Okay, he's already up a piece. Not getting mated. So this is genuinely, it was a 1200 playing up a piece. This keeping the queens around would have maybe been slightly stronger. But it just wins another piece. This is game over. He's going to get a new pairing soon. Okay. And I think his lead over the tournament will be comfortable. Playing, I'm not going to watch that. He's going to get another 4 points. He's going to hit the 100 mark. He's actually had an outstanding tournament. I've missed the last of his games here. Just to keep an eye on the tournament, though, 780, 625. It seems like Western Cape is getting this one pretty comfortably. 160 or 155 lead here. And 12 minutes to go. I highly doubt it. But we'll watch a Matt Pon game, and then we'll get back to the big tournament pairings and standings. Maybe there's more excitement between Nelson Mandela and Gauteng North for this second place. Seems pretty close. 625 versus 629. And that is actually a pretty close matchup between two unions. And running away, actually, from 4th place upwards, Sedi Beng not getting the usual... This SPD, I think, Sedi Beng falling out completely. Without the help of Mr. Clarence. And Enachi moving up to 2500. What did he play? Okay, knight f6, and he's going for one of his tricky lines. Where only he should be better after a few moves in this theory. And this is one of the bad things about playing someone that's comfortable in their lines, is you actually playing against the computer for the first few moves. Definitely going to get a worse position, and trying to fight back after that is difficult. I know when I get to play my preparation, it just feels like I'm unbeatable, so you also have to struggle against the psychological aspect of your opponent, which is not too great. And he's not berserked him, and maybe white has managed to do something, dropping this pawn now. And we'll see now that after this check, the position is going to change a lot. Don't know how white's going to be defending that bishop yet again. The knight to get out of the pin after queen a5 as well. Throws in this check first, but I think simply bishop and knight takes. He might just play knight here to keep this check an option. So you need to trade now as black. As white, sorry. But white seeming to want to stay active in the position. Now after rook b1, I'd be worried about bishop c3, knight d2, and rook takes, queen takes, and bishop takes, king takes, making that king very exposed. So white just simply gives up the rook in the corner. Bishop a6, both rooks are being hit. He's not picking up the rook immediately. You kind of need to ask, how good is this bishop versus how good is this rook? And I think Matt Pond knows. He'd like to hold on to this bishop, who's going to probably see the light of day from the d4 square, and well, skewer down onto the white king, making things extremely awkward for white. Rook takes b7. Holding on to his bishop, not even giving up the piece there. And now he's going to castle after everything. Now white should get this knight to h3. See what type of attack he can come up with. I think knight h3 is still quite a key point. And that's a blunder, unfortunately. So white actually managing to survive there and setting up, I'd say, if he didn't blunder there, knight h3 would have maybe equalized things quite a bit with his annoying pawn and getting rid of this bishop, which Matt Pond was holding on to. Would have definitely been nice. And Matt Pond going over the 100, and he's not stopping. He's just taking more points. 10 minutes to go, and Clarence is playing, and we'll just jump straight to his game. And starting in 186th place. Already with a win here. I'm on his TV. I knew this time he's not going to get past me with 8 minutes to go. He might compete, but we're going to be commentating on him. And, well, opposite side colors bishops. How did he win this active king, getting that pawn on that side? And then two passed pawns. There's nothing really to do against them. And then a flag. And is he offline now? That is a shame. Decided too many people are going to be watching. No, he's in another game. And e4, e5, actually not going for his Sicilian. Knight c3, and we have two knights. Actually, okay. Going for the main line of the two knights, not for, well, the old main line. And interesting trading here, and d5 immediately going for the center. Oh, but that's just a blunder, man. And I think he's going to be chopping in these last few minutes. And yeah, maybe the players should just resign. This is just too much material already. But how to convert this quickly to get a few more tournament points. At least he is participating, even if it is for the last few minutes. He's giving us some chess to spectate. And a lot of players probably don't even know they're playing against him. The queen's being hit. I thought he might hold on to this pin. But I don't think the knight manages to exploit the pin. But okay, that's just another piece. And white just keeps on going, and sometimes this might be frustrating. Knowing that you're +8 to material. He's just playing extremely quickly. I don't know if this is his second game now, after the opposite side colors bishops game. That should have actually been a good game for his opponent to manage to get into that position in the first place. In any case, playing against Queen Jux. And 6 minutes to go. I think we'll, after this game, I don't think we'll watch this further. This is mate now. He's going to get a new pairing. Let's quickly watch the pairings before he gets paired again. Western Cape, 8:33. 651 against Gauteng North. 645, Nelson Mandela. And Joburg Metro also very close by. So it's a battle for second, third, and fourth place, really. First place being dominated And okay, I want to jump into another one of Mr. Clarence's games, and well, it's where is he now? 149. Oh, he's played a few games. He did slip through my radar again. Sneaky. And what do we have here? We have a 2 knights, and this is just a huge blunder. There's a theory line with this move though, but your bishop needs to be on c5. So I think you play check. And okay, but in any case, he's up a queen. He should be getting this game too. I don't want to spend too much time seeing how he converts that. I want to see him get a proper opponent within these last 4 minutes. And that reminds me, we should probably be paying our dues to Einachi, who has been playing really well throughout this tournament. And I think he's setting up a tournament record. 105 points. Playing in an endgame where he's down a pawn, but it seems like king and knight activity isn't too bad for him. Okay. The king can't approach yet because of this check. So you need to maybe step back. And he should be getting in this last game before the end of the tournament. Okay, black's king could step in. I realize now. Just walk over to defend. And black is better in the fact that he's up a pawn. But white's king activity isn't too bad. And I'm expecting they might just make a draw right here. Try and get in those last points for the tournament now. Make those last points count. And where's this knight going to? It's a long remaneuver. And I'm just going to sneak up over here. You guys won't be able to see this. But Clarence in a new game against the 1500. And nothing too spectacular happening. Yeah, okay. In any case, my pawn going to be able to defend this. The game should definitely be over before the tournament clock runs out, and we will have the updated scores of Joburg, Gauteng, and well, I think it's the 3 Joburg unions actually competing it out. And now Matt's winning after that weird attempt by the monster. Dropping another pawn. Black resigns. He gets in the game. Very lucky though. I think that was not his game to be taking home. Helping his team though on 113 points. Has this ever been seen in this arena before? I have no idea. And okay, he's definitely just going to run away with his next game. And I think we'll end the tournament probably here on this page. And it should be over now soon. And I want to see what type of checkmate he sets up. I think this is a checkmate. Nope, he misses checkmate in 2. Check. And rook there, checkmate. Okay. Just to show you guys, after pawn here, he's got this nice check after knight takes. Rook there, checkmate. But in any case, we reach something very similar. 2 minutes to go. What's happening on these top boards? Let's just see. I think I'm going to do what I did last time. Just keep the tournament page loaded, and we'll just spectate one of the leading games in the corner there, as you guys can see. Another game Matt Pond's playing, and Luthor, a player from the Western Cape that I think is playing as their number 1 at the moment. On his heels though is a Mr. Paradox, who we haven't seen in this whole tournament, just coming out of nowhere. 3 Western Cape players trying to gun for these first 3 places. 1:30 to go. 678 Nelson Mandela Bay University. Are they going to be taken second place? This would just be insane. Gauteng North, they have got the tactics. We saw in the last 2 minutes of the previous tournament, Gauteng North using those last minutes to get draws, keeping other players hostage. Very smart tactics over there. And not sure if Nelson Mandela Bay is ready to be playing on these terms yet. But this is exciting. Western Cape, 868. This is nearly a 200-point lead. They decided last time was not their best result, and coming back for just a massive tournament over here. Einachi, as you can see in the corner over there, setting up bishop takes f3, and this should be game over now, as his dark squared bishop is going to be helping him deliver mate. He could deliver mate with his dark squared bishop. Luthor resigning, not getting a point for the Western Cape in these last seconds, but helping Einachi reach 117, and that must be unheard of. The player closest to him, 72 points. Nightmare. Also from Joburg Metro, not sure who he is. Playing that very tricky game in the endgame with his knight. And Nelson Mandela, 687, keeping a 4-point lead, seconds to go. Are they going to be making draws? 689, 688, 1 point difference, and Nelson Mandela Bay with 1 point difference between Gauteng North. This must be the closest second and third place has ever been, and running away from Joburg Metro, with the player Einachi contributing over 117 points to them. And this was just an insane tournament. Dominance by Western Cape Chess. And yet again, following the tradition of these usual tournaments, we had Clarence joining us in the last seconds for a bit of blitz himself, playing against these lower rated players and actually finishing up a game over here. I don't know if this really helps Sedi Bang, but it makes for some fun guessing whether he's going to be playing or not. And South African Rhino, well done to him. We can quickly congratulate. Well, let's just go through the top 10 players and mention the teams, as the top players will already be in the top page. Einachi, Nightmare, and Schwarstier, Joburg Metro's players taking those first 3 places. And Patzerfolter, Gauteng North, with 58, very good score. High berserk rate, I wonder what that was. All those 3s there. Wow. I mean, a 90% berserk rate, really, really great. And this player from Oeverberg we were watching, also a great player. And the Rhino, Luthor, Paradox, all Western Cape players, they're top players. And Freddy F5, Nelson Mandela, Bay, Chess Union, helping them score really high. And the Monster taking that 10th place, 53, just taking that away from Panageo on 52. More Western Cape chess players. And the Sunnyside Bull, we were watching him, and Kenny, they did not manage to get that top 10 place. Really tough to get these top 10 places, but apparently for Einachi Matpon, it's just a walk in the park. Thank you everyone for watching, well, I'll see you guys next week. Thank you for tuning in and making this tournament a fun event. Well done to the unions that won, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks.